Harry, this is LordPotato, and this is what if LordPotato was in Black Clover. Now I should mention one thing. I know I haven't uploaded for at least 2 days. The reason why is because yesterday I didn't really feel like uploading, and I just really felt like going to sleep. Even when I got home, I just felt like going to sleep straight up. Didn't care that much. But at the same time, what's it called? Anyway, also watching anime, but before going to sleep. But whatever. But yeah, I'm going to do a what if now. I know what's it called? I know there's some what ifs I might need to do. Like what if I also went into the Naruto world? Yes, I need to do part 5 for that. But don't worry about that. I'll do that later. Not now. Let me just go into this what if, okay? Because fuck you, it's me in this what if. I don't know. But let me just go begin, okay? Look, let me begin. It hasn't been a month. It has been only 2 days, not 2 months. Now shush. Let's begin. So, we go into, well, me. Exactly. LordPotato. Of course, the name isn't LordPotato in this world. It's mostly Dark Raikou. Because, yes, Dark Raikou just means dark lightning in English. But, hey, don't worry about it. It's an old, okay. I think I never mentioned where Dark Lightning actually came from. It just came from an old game I used to play, but yeah. But I'm gonna say my name is Dark Raikou in this world. Now shut up. So let me go into that. Back into what I should shut up and stop rambling. But yeah. So of course, before I left, this is where Julia says, so you're that mercenary that I heard so much about. So, Dark Raikou, before you leave, do you want to at least try in the Royal Knight exam? Please? Because he has stars in his eyes. He actually wants to know my magic. Because he has heard of me. Because I am a mercenary in this world. A mercenary that's too dangerous for people to even realize. Now, of course, well, Julius wants to know what magic I use. Clearly, it was magic that was faster than him can actually react fast enough to protect the Clover King. This is where, well, I was about to kill the Clover King, but I wasn't really going to kill him. It looks like I'm going to kill him, but not really. This is where I look at Julius and say, you think I would like to do this? Fine. Just in one condition. Only one match, and that's all. This is where, well, Julius says, really? Okay. Let me see, what kind of people do you would be? Hey, this is where I said, also, second condition, I will not be on any other team. I do not like working with people, unless it's my 2 brothers, Yuno and Asta. But for right now, I will not work with them. This is where, well, Julius kind of like saddened, because he knows that, hey, my name is Dark Raikou, of course, last name unknown, of course, is where, well, title, Mercenary God. The reason why it's called Mercenary God is because I'm one of the best mercenaries out there. I kill instantly, silence, fast and quick. It's truly the fastest mercenary, but yeah, fastest God mercenary, whatever. Of course, there's some people that call me an assassin because yes, I do somewhat assassin people. But yeah. Of course, well, age, he doesn't actually know my age exactly. Because, well, it's not actually said in the, what's it called, like, little book. Because there's books about the different mercenaries and all that. And I'm mostly in the top number 1. Mostly kind of got changed to -1. Because I actually kind of asked for it, but yeah. So, of course, it's -1. But, of course, it's top tier, okay? Like, top tier over here. Of course, well, age unknown. Because it never said. Gender, it says male, of course. And, of course, where it says likes or dislikes or anything like that. It doesn't say many because I don't have many things. And of course, well, the next thing is what's it called? Danger level. It says danger level. Very, 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 very fucking dangerous. You should probably run away. But if you see him, you will not survive unless you're his target or just someone communicating or connected to the target. This is where, well, Julius really wants to see my magic, seeing how strong am I. Of course, this is where, well, I will only do, so this fight was actually going to happen. Of course, this is where Julius was thinking, who the hell to pick? I said to fight the last team, the very last team. So of course there are different alphabets of like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I forgot how many alphabet letters were there, but there was one letter that was kind of odd because there wasn't another team to fight them. But of course, I'll fight those three. Now of course, those three are from the, well, one is from the Crimson Lions and he's kind of arrogant because he's a noble. Another is from the Silver Eagle. He's a noble also, but he's not really from the Sylveon family. He's just someone who can actually use ice. The Crimson Lion can use earth. And then the last one is from, well, the Golden Dawn. Yeah, he's a noble from the Golden Dawn. Of course, this is where, well, they all kind of wind their eyes, wondering why did the mercenary just pick them. This is where, well, they smirk saying, this pathetic weakling is not going to defeat us. This is where, well, Julius narrowed his eyes, but they didn't expect me to actually kill them. Because this is only a battle, right? Yeah, that doesn't actually have any meaning to that. This is where, well, we go into the battle. Of course, I'm by myself and I have the crystal behind me. And this is where the three of them are saying, ha, we're going to win. Whoever the hell this guy is, we don't even know if he's a noble or not. He's probably no one. This is where they're laughing. The Clover King says, I will execute him. This is where Julius says, we can't. He's a mercenary. And mercenaries don't die that easily. Unless you want to get like the whole army of mercenaries to fight against us. This is where, well, the Clover Kings, how many mercenaries are there? 200k. This is where the Clover King shut up because really, if there's one mercenary who's clearly dangerous, other mercenaries will really just respect that one mercenary. So many mercenaries actually respect me. A lot of them. Even some of them are in, well, kind of communication with me. This is where, well, since I am the -1, I am the top tier, fastest and silent killer out of all the mercenaries. So many mercenaries respect me and want to be just like me. So yeah. Some of them are old, some of them are just beginning to be brand new. Some of them are way too young. But yeah. And no, there's not 200k. I'm just saying something random number. It's like 2,000 instead. Yeah, there's a lot of mercenaries. There's some actually joining since I became a mercenary and became such a high ranking one. So many people really want to become mercenaries because they get paid pretty good. Really good. Like, you get paid really good of being a mercenary. But yeah. Of course, this is where, well, the Clover King shuts up because if he tries to go against this mercenary, because he doesn't actually know the power level of what I am. But this is where he says, at least the nobles will be able to defeat him. This is where they're thinking. This is where Asta sweat drops and is right now scared. His hand is shaking. This is where Mimosa sees this in confusion. This is where Yuno is also shaking, because Yuno, he knows how dangerous I am. Both Asta and Yuno knows how dangerous I am. From when we were younger, of course, I was very dangerous, because I was able to make a lightning blade sword in my hand, cutting down bullies. So of course, they know how dangerous I am exactly. But they don't know how more dangerous I am now since I am the oldest out of all, well, out of both of them. Because I am 18. And this is where I am 18, okay? Of course, this is where, well, I am laughing like a maniac right now in my head. This is where, before we start, I pull out 3 rings. These 3, well, not 3 rings. A ring, a bracelet, and a necklace. Now, of course, I noticed what their magics were pretty easily. One was earth, one was ice, and the last one, the one from the Golden Dawn, was a wind user. So of course, I throw these magic knight tools to increase their magic. This is where the fire dude kind of like got the ring, the ice user got a bracelet, and the wind user got a necklace. This is where they're confused, and I look at them saying, oh, those are magic knights. You know, I'm just being a little arrogant. I'm gonna kick your ass even with your magic knights. This is where when they put it on, they feel an increase of power in them. This is where they're shocked. They never actually thought these magic things will actually increase them. But the magic tools that I just gave them were very fucking rare. Now, of course, they're not rare enough for me to actually care. I just kind of got them from the black market. This is where, well, I just look at them, and this is where all of them smirks and says, well, you're an idiot for giving us this. Let's see you dodge this. Ice sword, ice caliber. This is where, well, he launches a giant sword towards me, and what I do is absolutely nothing. The sword is coming so close, and this is where I pull out the black blade and cut it once. Like I swing the sword once in thin air, vertical, and the sword just splits into two, passing by me and hitting the ground. This is where I say, is that all you have? I thought I'd given you that for a little bit of a handicap. You guys are pathetic if you can't defeat me. This is where all three of them gets annoyed. This is where the fire user says, fire style, fire crimson. What's it called? Crimson, not crimson. He says, fire style, fire dog. He sends a fire dog at me. And of course, this is where I say, Puppo. Sorry about this, Puppo. This is where I smack the air once, and the fire dog just obliterates. Of course, this is where, well, the fire user is so angry and shocked. This is where the ice user was already shocked to see his sword just get cut once. This is where the wind user says, wind style, wind, arrows. Because he has seen, use this. And of course, he decides to create something like this. He can only make a couple of arrows. He can't make that many, just like So of course, he sends them at me. And of course, they're coming at me with high speeds. And of course, I just use the black blade. Ding, 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 ding. Just smack them away so easily. Like, so easily that they were shocked. They were dumbfounded, shocked, and what the fuck? Julius hasn't even seen one bit of my magic, and is just shocked to see these royals getting defeated so easily. He knows those magic tools that are on the nobles are very powerful. They're actually connected towards someone very, legendary back then. This person who used to create magic tools that were very legendary, that are somewhat unique and legendary, was named Pandoro, the blacksmith user. A legendary user. Now, of course, this is where, it's not Pandoro, I can't remember the name, how to say, but I'm gonna say it's Pandoro. Of course, this is where, well, he is shocked to see those magic tools. And these nobles using magic against me, and I'm just defeating them with a black blade? And cutting through their ship pretty easily is just shocking to Julius. He is actually pretty, he's amazed of my power, like Brennan being using any type of magic, just smacking away, or even using my sword. But the one thing he's horrified, if this is how I'm able to defeat 3 nobles that are right now shooting long range, and I'm right now just easily defeating it, he is kind of horrified. How strong am I exactly? This is where, well, I should also mention one thing. Julius actually noticed one thing. I have an eye patch on my right eye. My right eye has this black eye patch. So this is where he can't really see that the other eye. Now I should mention one thing. There's a black mist around my face, so of course no one can see it. And there's actually a turquoise, scarf around me, kind of just floating every time I'm blocking things. But yeah, of course this is where, well, sorry, I keep burping. But of course, this is where, well, I keep just blocking too easily. Now, of course, my hair is barely showing. Well, mostly some of my hair, because yes, my hood is kind of on top of me, because I am wearing like a black coat and all that. And of course, this is where, well, I'm easily just, my hair can actually be shown a little bit, a white patch of white hair on my right side. While on my other side, it's kind of showing like turquoise a little bit. And kind of turquoise highlights on my hair, but barely people can see it. Now, of course, this is where, well, people are just shocked and dumbfounded. This is where, well, I say, this is where we're going to me. I say, is that all you have? For being nobles, you guys are pathetic. I gave you 3 legendary items, and you people can't even do any damage to me? What is this? You guys are so pathetic. Maybe you should come closer and actually fight me. Instead of using long range, maybe the long range is actually destroying your abilities because of the wind. This is where wind is kind of blowing, but it's kind of weak. But this is where they all think about it, because they're not actually thinking, they're actually thinking really too fast, and they don't actually think and process what I'm saying. This is where the 2 nobles actually fight. This is where it's the one from the Crimson Lions, and the other is from the Golden Dawn. This is where they're going close range while the ice user keeps sending ice attacks, but also trying to defend just in case, well, anything happens. I look at this and say, Wow, what a pathetic idiot you are. But of course, this word, well, I say, wow, what a pathetic idiots. They didn't even think. They rush only. This is where all of them are rushing. Mostly the ice one is right now behind, kind of just blocking any attacks. Making an ice castle around the crystal, just so no one can get through. And this is where so many people are seeing how their magic increases. And can barely sense a bit of magic from me. They're actually confused about me. They think that I have zero magic, just like Asta. But Asta has a very interesting magic that they can sense, but at the same time they don't want to sense. But of course, well, also if you're reading those Discord messages, it's just Demon sending me what's it called, his new sleep schedule. No. Not the point. Let me go back into what if. But of course, well, they are confused with Asta. They can sense his magic, but it kind of feels like death itself. So some of them don't want to feel it. That's why they kind of stay away from it. Of course, they can sense zero magic from me, which is interesting because for being one of the top tier mercenaries, they will expect that I will have lots of magic. This is where Julius can actually see this and is confused. What? What is this? This is where when the two nobles are getting so close, they say, die! This is where, well, my crystal is still behind me, and of course, this is where, well, I just walk forward. Like, I started walking forward so easily. This is where both of their attacks sent at me. This is where I say darkness magic. Black hole. This is where a black tiny hole appears. This is where it sucks in the magic. Just like how Yami uses black hole because he does have Yami does have darkness. A black hole appears. It's tinier than what's called Yami, but of course it's stronger than Yami's black hole because it sucks in everything. Like everything around it started getting sucked in. Like gravity, what's called space dimension, everything started getting sucked in. The magic was sucked in faster than normal. Even their mana was actually almost pulled out of them. This is where they're shocked. They jump away from me. This is where the black hole does a pace. And this is where, well, I say, very interesting. Let's see if we can do this. This is where I snap my fingers and it says, reverse black hole, white hole. This is where, well, I can do a white hole instead of just a normal black hole. My darkness might be just darkness, but it's not just darkness that I just have. It's both. Well, I should mention that later. But of course, a white hole appears and sends your attacks 10 times powerful, more than just normal. This is where now a bit of magic can be sensed from everyone else. This is where they're just winding their eyes. Did he hide his mana? This is where both of their attacks come forward, but instead of the flames being orange color, it's crimson red now. And this is where, well, instead of the wind being normal wind, it's now a darkish gray, which smashes upon the opponents that I'm fighting against, smashing them into the wall. This is where I say, pathetic you think I will be. This is where they start getting with things. I am from the Crimson Lions. I won't give up. He explodes into just like flames. And of course, where, well, should write that. Huh? And what's it called? Of course, the other wind dude kind of explodes into wind, saying, "I'm from the Golden Dawn, and I won't lose to you." This is where they rush at me with blinding speed, and this is where I sigh and say, "Ah, you guys are pathetic." Darkness style, darkness spikes of hell. This is where, well, when they're getting closer, they started rushing. This is where the darkness around me, the shadow, started increasing into a bit of like just a couple of feet from me, like 20 feet. And of course, when they get close to that range, this is where the shadow spikes appear, stabbing into them. This is where they fall down because the darkness just goes back inside me, well, back into my shadow. This is why I say pathetic. This is where, well, I start walking and not carrying that much. This is where, well, Julius whined his eyes, seeing how the two nobles were defeated so easily. I was calm, so calm and collected when I was fighting them. I wasn't even worried a second. This is where, well, their magic might have increased, their mana and all that, their magic and all that, but their stupidity did increase more because being a little bit arrogant thanks to the boost of magic, yeah. People would be like that. And I was like, idiots. Of course, I just like kept walking, and of course, where the ice user widen his eyes, realizing that the two, what's called the Crimson Lion and the Golden Dawn dude got defeated. Which he's seeing this from the fact that he has this similar, like, what's it called, world creation magic. Of course, he's seeing me walk through them. Now, of course, there's a problem here. There's 2 yellow balls. There's like 3 yellow balls in total in this like terrain and all that. It's him and the other 2. But when the other 2 got stabbed, they're knocked out. They're turned into grayish. Now, one thing with me, I am purely black. I am a black ball for some reason that he can't really change the color, but it's for some reason it's black and some turquoise on it. Now, of course, he is confused with it. But this is where, well, the black ball changes. Just disappears, actually. It just vanishes. This is where, well, the ice creation dude was confused. He's trying to look around and saying, where the hell did he go? This is where we go back into me. I disappear in an instant. Nothing but just disappear into the shadows. This is where, well, I appear right behind this dude. And this is where, well, I just look at the crystal. And of course, the guy is not paying attention to his crystal. This is where I smack the shit out of the crystal. Just bitch slap it, and of course it destroyed. And this is where I turn around so fast and just like smashes my feet into this guy's back, smashing him out of the ice palace. This is where, well, the guy was knocked the hell out. This is where I say, pathetic you are, why don't you? Huh. You guys are really idiotic. You're supposed to be stronger. I gave you those things to be stronger. This one, I go back down there. I start just grabbing back the magic items because I'm still gonna keep them. This is where, well, I walk away and just show everyone that even if your magic increased to magic items, you're still retarded to me. You're still an idiot to me. Just because your power might have increased, but you're an idiot for not thinking. Your biggest problem was to think, not be so stupid and arrogant at the same time. This is where, well, I walk up, and of course, this is where, well, I started just, well, mostly floating, like I dissipate into shadow and appear right next to Asta. And this is where I tell him 2 things. Think before you fight. This is where, well, Asta nodded. He knows that thinking is the most powerful tool in a battlefield. It's not just power. It's not just your magic. It's not just mana. The increase of you having. It's always thinking. Critical thinking is the most powerful tool that you can have to avoid casualties, to avoid critical injuries, to avoid deaths, to avoid a lot of things. And this is where, well, I walk away from Asta. This is where I was about to dissipate into shadows, and Julia says, well done, Dark Raikou. Even though I haven't seen that much magic from you, I can conclude that you are able to use darkness or shadows. I don't know which one is, since your grimoire didn't actually show it. Oh, my grimoire. Right, I forgot about that thing. Sorry, I didn't show my grimoire because I didn't really need to. But if you really want to see my grimoire, I guess I can show you. This is where, well, Julia says, yeah, sure. Can I see it? This is where my grimoire appears out of nowhere because it just turns into darkness, like darkness was appearing. And this is where, well, a like lightning color was actually appearing also. Created my grimoire. Now I should mention what my grimoire kind of looks like. This is how my grimoire looks like. It has 6 Clovers in total. And of course, this is where, well, I say, this is my grimoire. This is where, well, Julius widened his eyes. How he can actually feel the mana overflowing from this grimoire is actually kind of shocking. This is where the mana around me also explodes. When the grimoire shows up, my mana actually explodes, increases. Not because of it's just from the book, nah, itself. It's mostly from me. My mana increases from the fact that I'm using the grimoire now. If I don't use my grimoire, I can make my magic and mana go down to 0, so you will never be able to sense me unless you're using ki. Of course, I managed to also avoid what's it called, ki sensing. So yeah, does it work? Well, you know, and also widen their eyes and how powerful my mana is. Exactly, everyone's starting widening their eyes. This is where the Clover King is actually scared now. This is where Julius is having switch up, seeing how powerful I am exactly. This is where, well, it says, well, if that's all you just need, I guess I must be leaving. This is where my book dissipates into darkness and lightning out of my hand. And of course, this is where I started, my mana just goes back to 0. Because well, not mana going back to 0, it stays the same. But this is where I push my mana all the way down. Like I started just dissipating it. Back to 0. Making sure that I have 0 mana and being unable to be sent. This is where Julius whined his eyes and how good of control I have in my mana. But yeah. But of course, after that kind of whole thing, I decided to just sit down, like next to the black pools, and just didn't care that much. This is where I made a darkness turn, just didn't care, and just started watching the whole battles. This is where the first battle, well, the second battle after my battle, well, mostly still count as the first, was still Asta's team versus, well, that one team. This is where Asta was right now kind of fighting against him because he was way faster than the original Cannon. He was actually using his mana. This is where he says mana style. Death clutches. This is where he actually clutches the souls of the other like team. And this is where they all grip their like chest because, well, their soul is being clutched. Making them unable to actually move and use their mana. They can use their mana if they have enough willpower. It's just right now they feel like death is grabbing onto them. Asta's right now like clenching his fist. Mostly his one hand. It was mostly his left hand. This is where he has the Tonto appearing. Just a white Tonto. And of course, this is where he doesn't stab upon them. He just stabs upon the crystal breaking in an instant. This is where Mimosa and Zora wind their eyes. This is where Asta, he jumps away and says, so, we did fine. Thanks, Mimosa, for protecting the crystal. Mimosa says, yeah. This is where, well, she wind her eyes one thing. Asta is not the same height. He is similar height towards Yuno. This is where one thing that everyone wind their eyes is how I am taller than both of them. I'm actually 6'2". I'm taller than both of them. This is where, well, Hostas have long white hair. His long white hair actually does get a little bit of bloodstains, but they just dissipate after a while. So think of it like an Utsutsuki. When Utsutsuki has a bloodstain on them or anything, it kind of just starts dissipating. Yeah, that's something that Asta's hair has. But yeah. This is where, well, the next match started happening. The same another. The one match that didn't go the same was basically Mimosa's team versus her brother's team. Because, well, Asta was about to jump in until I said, why don't I fight that team? This is where Asta says, get away, I don't need your help. He started trying to push me away, and I said, wait, come on, I'll help you. Besides, your red-haired friend over there is not helping that much. This is where Asta says, and I don't care. I don't need your help. Why not? Because, no, I can do this by myself. This is where he starts kind of trying to push me away. And of course I say, why? This is where I started kind of becoming way too lazy. I was like, oh no, I'm falling. This is just pushing me away because first of all, he hates me kind of just doing stupid things to distract him just in case I'm going to appear and try to kill them. This is where one thing that, well, one dude kind of pissed me off. It was the, well, brother of Mimosa. Mimosa's brother kind of says, you two are so ugly. First of all, you with white hair, I still don't feel that much mana from you. You're so ugly. I don't care about your face, you're just a commoner. And you might have been able to defeat some nobles, but there were weaker nobles than me. I'm the most beautiful, handsome man out of the Vermilions. This is where he keeps going on with bullshit. And of course, I'm like, I'm gonna 10 seconds before I kill this dude. This is where, well, a pressure around me actually appeared. And right now, the only person that can actually feel it to actually right now trying to push me away is Asta. Asta's right now shocked and scared, saying, no. He tries to grab me, but I dissipate in an instant and was about to cut this guy in an instant, saying, shut up. This is where, well, the guy was shocked. This is where he tries to use his cherry blossom petals and all. This is where they get cut in an instant. And my sword was so inches from his face, being able to cut him. I say, look here, you fuck. You haven't seen my face. How do you know that it's not the same beauty as yours? It could be worse. It could be better. How the hell do you know it's different? This is where, well, one girl actually heard this, and this is where Soy heard it because she has saw my face. in the what's called in that place that I kind of sent him into the region of fucking hell, they believe, but really it was a region that I accidentally created thanks to my mana. My mana increases, but also the environment gets kind of fucked up and jacked up to the fucking highest of max level of magic itself. This is where she did see my face when I actually took all my stuff off to kind of go into the hot springs. Of course, my face kind of dissipates while the darkness dissipates, showing my face. Now, I should mention one thing. I am actually a darkish brownish color. Now, of course, well, not that dark. I'm mostly like my skin is a little darkish because I am Mexican. In this world, I am still fucking Mexican. You cannot change that. I am not white. I am not the same color as both Yuna or Asta. I'm just a little bit darker, okay? So, of course, this is where Soy was blushing from seeing my face. Of course, seeing that I'm actually a different tone of color from my brothers. This is where, she kind of looks away. Of course, this is where Magna kind of noticed it and was confused. But, of course, says, whatever. Hey, you can't kill my teammate. Unless you're going to be my teammate. Nah, not really. I'd rather destroy your team if you piss me off enough. This is where, I have a deep-ass voice, and of course, I'm being really fucking scary. My aura around me is starting to explode from me. Even the Grimoire hasn't been showing up, but the power around me is still exploding a lot. This is where Julius is going to have to step in and stop me from actually killing him. But this is where, I stop myself. Instead, I just say, I shouldn't really kill you. This is where the beauty guy said, huh? Really? That's why I punched this motherfucker straight into the ground, saying, instead, I should kill you with just beating the shit out of your stupid face. This is where the guy said, he's right now just kind of crying because his face is all fucked up. That's where I don't care, and I just like get up and start walking away. This is where Omen, or whatever his goddamn name is, kind of goes up to the guy and starts healing him. Even the battle hasn't started, but they're like shocked to believe that I will step into a lot of battles. This is where the same kind of battle kind of happens, but instead of, Asta kind of like doing black mode to get rid of the rose petals, or mostly the sakura petals, he just says death style. Death erasing mana. This is where a death aura appears. This is where when the aura was around the sakura petals dries up in an instant and dissipates. Death itself destroys even life. So of course, when also using that, he just destroys all of it in an instant. They all just dissipates in an instant. This is where the guy said, what is he? This is where, Asta was going towards him now. And the thing that, the guy kind of saw behind Asta kind of scared the shit of him. Literally in figure of speech. He saw Death himself, a Shinigami version of Asta. This is where, Asta had a taunt in his mouth, and this is where Asta was getting close towards the guy, and this is where Asta says, Death style. Death glare. This is where, a mana started building up into Asta's eyes, and when Asta did a death glare, this man felt death itself staring into his soul. This is where, he felt like death was about to just grab his soul and rip it out of him. This is where, he was scared shitless. He was just scared. This is where, when he sees Asta getting close to him, Soy and Magna did try to attack, Asta until a trap magic says, trap magic, double. This is where, their attacks gets flung back to them and smacks them into them. This is where, Asta gets so close to the guy, Asta's hand was becoming old, which it looks like it's becoming old, but really it's still the same. The death glare itself is kind of messing with this person's senses. It's messing with all 5 senses. Mostly looking, like seeing all that, touch, smell, taste, and even feel, like felt. He can't feel any of this. His mostly Asta's like death glare is kind of messing with all of those 5 senses. Even his mana control is being like wonky a little bit. He feels his mana, he doesn't feel his mana. He feels his mana, he doesn't feel his mana, he feels dead, like inside. This is where when Asta passes by him, Asta just touches the crystal and it destroys in an instant. So yeah. This is where, well, the person was shocked and right now is pissing in pants, shitting himself, and right now just scared the shitless right now. But yeah. This is where, well, next thing happens, and of course this is where, well, something else kind of happens. The next matches kind of goes the same, but of course this is where, well, it's Longers trying to kill Finral. This is where, before anyone can actually react fast enough, I appear having my sword right next to this motherfucker's neck. Now, of course, I ain't gonna try to kill him because I already know that it's mostly the elf kind of taking possession of him, but I'm not really doing anything to kind of get rid of the elf. This is where the elf says, you. He gets knocked out. Right now, getting shocked and is blacked out, but yeah. This is where, well, I said, pretty pathetic of you to do that. Meh. This is where Julia says, thank you for saving the black bull. Didn't do this for you most of the time, but sure. This is where, well, Julius nodded and says, okay, what's calm? He says, Chroma's barrier. And of course, Longers is trapped inside it, but this is where, well, Asta says, I want to go next. I want to fight him next. This is where, well, Julius nodded. He was thinking I would say something, but I didn't say anything. Of course, this is where, well, this is where, well, Julius kind of says got it, and kind of just walked away. This is where it was next to fight what's called Asta and Longers. This is where when Longers was fighting against Asta, Asta defeated him in an instant. Asta was actually clenching the soul from him, and was about to rip out the soul of, well, the elf. Which he did. He kind of ripped it out of him. And of course, Longers just became normal. Or normal as it can be, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into the next fight, and of course, the next fight was Yuno versus that one dude. Of course, Yuno showed that form, and this is where the next battle is Yuno versus Asta. This is where, when their fight kind of continued on, Asta was mostly flying in thin air. He was able to walk and fly and dodge in thin air. This is where Yuno was actually shocked. The only way that Yuno can fly is by using his wind magic and the wind spirit magic. Asta has none of that, but can sense a faint type of mana inside him. This is where he is confused where he got that mana. But of course, the where, well, he starts trying to fight against, well, Asta, because the one thing that Yuno wants to fight is me. He wants to see how strong am I exactly. He saw that I was mostly playing with some people. The people in the beginning. People thought I was being serious, but really I was just playing with them. This is where, well, Asta wants to fight me also. And this is where Asta says, style, death of, well, Shinigami style, obliteration. A white ball appears and sent it straight towards, well, Yuno, which became a big blast. Mostly a blast from Asta's hand. And this is where Yuno says, Wind Spirit Blast. This is where both of the attacks were being clashed. A white glow and a green glow. But of course, the green glow was getting pushed back. And of course, Yuno gets pushed back and smashed into the crystal. Because the mushroom was there. This is where Noelle was not able to defeat, well, what's called Mimosa or Soda. Because, yeah, she was being defeated. This is where, well, Asta sighs and says, good. Now I get to fight you. You bet. This is where I disappear. Like, I was gone. This is where he's like, where did he go? He passed out, but yeah. His team had to go get him because they realized one thing. I was gone. This is where, well, Julius explains a lot of things, and he realized one thing. I was gone, and of course, he isn't going to be able to put me into the Royal Magic Knights exam. Reason one is because I'm a mercenary, and he has to pay me for shit. Reason two, I'm not doing this for free. It was mostly me just looking over, well, Asta and Yuno. And, well, number three is, I'm gone. That fucker ain't gonna try to find me because, first of all, he can't really sense ki, and, problem two is, or problem with that also, he can't sense my magic when I have it at 0. This is where I'm walking away. And this is where someone behind me appears. A man with somewhat like a, what's it called? It looked like to be a cane, or whatever. It looked to be a cane or whatever, and of course, mostly a staff, but it had a moon signature, a golden moon signature on top of the staff, and the staff was fully gold. This is where, well, the figure seems to be having no flesh muscles, and its face looked to be bone. Around him was mostly a white kind of cloak, but had a golden necklace, or a golden kind of, a kind of necklace around him. But it was too big to be a golden necklace. But whatever. This is where the person had a grimoire in his kind of hand, kind of floating up and down. Of course, this person was walking towards me. This person seemed to have a 5-leaf grimoire. This is where the person bows down and says, hello. Well, he says, hello, there, Dark Riku. Is the preparations ready? Are we now going to show this world, or this kingdom, our power now? I looked at him and says, of course, get the other mercenaries. We're going to help them. But you know what? We're going to help them and charge them at the same time. I laughed with this evil laughter. This is where, well, we go into a time skip. And of course, this is where, well, the Royal Magic Knights are going to fight against the elves. This is where Mariana's still fighting against a lot of people. And of course, this is where the elves are revived. But this is where I'm going to leave it off for part 2 of this what if. Have a nice potato day, potato night, potato day, potato, and good night. If you're wondering who that figure is, well, you're going to figure out that next part. But other than that, have a nice potato day, potato night, potato, and good night.